So one of the people I support and follow on DeviantArt, Patreon, and even here on YouTube, well, on YouTube if you're listening on there, one of the people I follow is TroubleTRO. Now they used to go by another YouTube name before that, and that was POVAR22. Now it's just TroubleTRO. And others have been, of course, jumping onto the YouTube bandwagon or Rumble bandwagon as well. Labastory, Joven16, and others that want to try to get, the content out there on a more, I guess you could say, grander scale. Especially with the fact that AI is allowing them the opportunity to do so. It's allowing them the opportunity to do so, I think, more so than we could have imagined. I mean, if you would have told everybody back when, outlets like YouTube and Blimp and, VENMO and Dailymotion were coming into being, if you would have told them then that, hey, in the next almost 20 years, because believe it or not, YouTube's going to be celebrating 20 years next year, or at least sometime next year going into 2026. If you would have told people that started out with YouTube within its first 20 years, including myself, that, hey, there's going to be possibilities to do your own content, to show off your own, I guess you could say, creations based on what you write or come up with idea-wise. If you would have told them that, and you would have told them that, yeah, you can also do it without having to pay somebody. Well, you got to pay somebody, but it's your own ideas. You're finally able to see what you want to see come to life. If you would have told them that back then, even 15 years back, from now, or 15 years ago, I should say. If you would have told them that even 5 years ago, or even 10, nobody would have really believed you. Even with the advancement of technology, nobody would have believed you. But now here we are. We are in a situation to where basically we have the opportunity to, I guess you could say, have this all become a reality. Going forward. I mean, I've shared a lot of my creations and everything through AIs that I've utilized, like Kling and Pixverse, if you will, Pixverse, and Hailuo and Luma and so on, and Runaway. And sometimes the results I get are pretty good. Now there is a catch though. I should say. And that catch is if you really want a more accurate representation of what you're trying to get, of course, you're either going to have to go higher in price with your subscription, or if you have enough credits, or gens, if you will, generations, in the case of Luma, if you have enough, you could, opt to, instead of using, let's say, the 1.0 or the 1.5, you could use the 2.0. Like PicaArt just went and created 2.0, but you got to have a high subscription for that. So that's the only catch there. Like, you could get the 2.0, but you got to upgrade your subscription to do so. That's the only catch. But be that as it may though, when you look at it, no matter whether you want to go that route or just stick with the 1.5 or 1.0, that's with your current subscription, no matter what service you use, you might use multiple like I do. Whatever the case may be, at the end of the day, you're bound to get something, pretty cool. And there are outlets like Hailuo and Pixverse and even Kling that are trying to do what Luma won't. Luma doesn't give you the opportunity to do credits. It only lets you do monthly gens, and you got to basically take your time with that. These outlets, these other three, not only do they give you monthly subscription credits, but they allow you to buy more. And the reason is because financially, even if it's $5, and they give you, let's say, 330 or 500 or 1,000 or whatever the case may be, essentially what they're doing is they're, basically making money to improve their service. I'm not saying Luma is not doing it themselves, but you're seeing a more quicker output in a sense when it comes to, upgrading the service to make it better. You get to where you will get the 1.5s, the 2.0s a lot quicker in update form than let's say an outlet like Luma does. But the reason I'm doing this audio video is because of the fact that I was on Patreon a couple of days ago. I was on Patreon, and TroubleTRO put an article out where they talked about Sora versus Hailuo. Now, Sora is another AI. It's another new AI out there. Or it might have been around for a bit. I don't know. But this is what they said when they talked about Sora versus Hailuo. This is what they said. This is what TroubleTRO said about it, and I quote, "I've played around with Sora, and I can say that while it has decent quality, its understanding of prompts is lacking compared to Hailuo or even Kling. On top of that, the censorship is intense, which can be frustrating, and it's also pretty expensive to use. What about you? Which one do you think delivers better results, Sora or Hailuo?" Now, here's the thing. To me, I haven't used Sora yet. And if it is pretty expensive, that might be a reason. That might be a reason, because apparently somebody said in the comment section that Sora is, holding the better version of the service, behind a $20 paywall tier. And you think to yourself, well, $20 isn't bad. Everybody pays a little bit more with the other ones. That's true. But what TroubleTRO is saying here is the one thing you want the most out of what you're spending is the understanding of prompts. You want an understanding of the prompts by the AI, even if it doesn't understand it to a specific detail. You still want to see it kind of understand and give you something close to what you're asking for. I mean, this is why if you follow someone like TroubleTRO and you see them kind of, like let's say he recently released the most recent chapter of Pink Benefits, which if I'm you and you haven't read that series yet, I recommend it. It's really interesting, especially now. But what he likes to do is sometimes animate certain pages. He likes to animate certain pages to see what they will look like in movie format. And what he does is he animates them, converts them into a GIF file, and then uploads them as part of the comic. So that not only do you get the comic, but you kind of get it in a motion comic-like feel. And what he does is he takes two panels, two scenes, if you will, two comic pages that originally he would just put as their own, and he merges them together to create, hopefully, a good result of a motion capture animation that you can enjoy while reading the rest of the comic. That's what he does, and he's been testing it out a lot with a lot of other things, down the line or as of late. He's been testing it with little animations here and there, symbiont animations and everything. Not Venom-like symbionts, but the kind of symbiont that basically bonds to the character and becomes anything the character wants them to be, and turns them, and basically, the symbiont will turn them into anything, anything or anyone they want to be, or something like that. So, and I'm tired. I'm also tired, guys, so I apologize if I'm repetitive and stumbling on my words here. But anyway, like I said, basically, TroubleTRO has been doing that, and obviously they've been using Hailuo or Kling to make some of these images happen. I think with the animations, the little motion capture, motion image animations, if you will, for the comics, they've been basically using Kling and maybe even Luma to an extent to make those possibilities happen. Now, here's the thing. Like I said, Hailuo is getting up there. Hailuo and Pixverse, and Kling, they're up there. Luma is up there with them. Those are the top four. Okay? And Kling, to me, like I've said before, kind of holds an itty-bitty little edge, if you will, over, over them to an extent. The reason being is because Kling allows you to add frames, additional images. Now, there's another one that's out there called Vidu.net. And they're pretty good. Themselves. They kind of give you what you're asking for at times, or at least try to. And they too have what's known as, the add frame. You can add an additional frame. The only catch is you can't extend. That's the only catch. And that's why Kling still has that slight itty-bitty advantage over them. It has that slight itty-bitty advantage over them because you can still add to it. Luma lets you add as well and extend. So that's pretty good. That's why Kling has a kind of slight advantage over Luma. And Luma is still kind of in there. They're just hanging on by a thread when it comes to being the second, if not, third most utilized AI in my opinion. So they're kind of hanging on to a thread to that second tier spot. Because Hailuo and Pixverse are right on their tail. They are right on their tail. Because Hailuo actually gives you, almost accurate, representation of what you want it to do. Either, by doing an image to video or text to video. Prompt to video, that is. And Pixverse does the same thing. So, Luma is, like I said, is holding on, but, it's by a thread. It's holding on, but by a thread. And, I can understand where, TroubleTRO is coming from when, talking about this. I can understand. Especially when they talk about it's a little hard when it comes to the censorship situation. And that's totally understandable. Because every outlet, Hailuo, Pixverse, Pixverse, that's P-I-X, that is, Pixverse, Hailuo, Pixverse, Kling, Luma, Runaway, you name it, Vidu, if you will, they all have their different, I guess you could say all have their different interpretations of censorship. They do. You can't even tell the prompt, or you can't even put a prompt in there without maybe, let's say, Pixverse or Hailuo saying, oh, no, we can't do that. You have that word in there. For example, with Pixverse, I basically took a paragraph from a story I created through Vidu, right? About Elastigirl of The Incredibles, basically having time to herself at home and just, getting into a certain mood to the point that the way she wants to spend that certain mood is to melt into a puddle of goop or slime, if you will. Well, I basically put in a paragraph where it said, Elastigirl, let her body go, or basically let go of her body and let it melt, or something like that. Or let her body melt into a puddle of goop, or something like that. And Pixverse didn't let me move on. It said, no, we gotta reword this. Not gonna work. So I had to take out the word body, and I had to say, Elastigirl, let herself melt. And lo and behold, it moved forward. Hailuo somewhat is the same way, but more lenient. It's more lenient. The only catch, though, is they don't let you do an extension. They don't, which I think is something they need to, as I've mentioned before, they need to work on and they need to improve on. They basically need to start allowing people to be able to do that. Have the extensions and add some frame as well. And I guarantee you, they do that. Basically, if I'm Kling and I'm Luma, I kiss that top spot goodbye when Hailuo does that. And the same with Pixverse. Pixverse does that, kiss that top spot, those two top areas goodbye. But yeah, a lot of AIs have censorship. Luma has it. Kling has it. There's not much you can do. Sometimes Kling, from a word perspective, and Hailuo, they won't mind. It's mostly the image. The image is the situation. So what you got to do is you got to clean up the image. I mean, for example, I downloaded one of the images from the recent Pink Benefits webcomic that TroubleTRO put up. So I uploaded the image. I uploaded the image of basically the lady discovering Emily in her current form. Basically, Emily became some kind of silk or something like that, leggings, if you will. And the lady tries her on, and Emily starts to get into it a little bit, like, okay, I'm going to have some fun here. She's also influenced by the spear, or basically the spiritual being that's guiding her. Anyway, long story short, she decides to crawl up the lady's body a little bit, because the lady wishes, I wish this would cover my whole body. And she's like, asking you shall receive. And she starts oozing up all over the lady. She's like, and the lady at first is like, okay, what's going on here? Because what threw her off at first is that the leggings that Emily became were kind of like golden, yellow golden. And all of a sudden they turned black, latex black. And then, all of a sudden, again, the lady wants to see if it would cover, or wishes it would cover her entire body. And she's like, okay, asking you shall receive. And, Emily decides to crawl up her body and start covering her, if you know what I mean. So, anyway, I downloaded both those images, and I did combine them like TroubleTRO did, to see how they would work, on Kling and even Luma. And, Kling kind of gave a better, representation of what I was asking for, and Luma did all right as well, but still, Kling did a better job. But when I would just focus on the image of, the afterwards image, after, Emily covers, her whole body except her head completely, I decided, okay, what else can I do? So I decided, okay, what if Emily was to completely absorb this girl and melt down with her? So I decided, okay, let's see if I can do that. And I tested it out on Pixverse. I tested it out on, Hailuo and even Kling. And Hailuo and Pixverse actually gave me some decent results. They did. I mean, Hailuo actually gave me an animation to where the girl basically pulls on Emily over, pulls her over a bit of her head, and she just melts down into this like swirling puddle of black ooze. And then what I did is I downloaded that video from Hailuo, because you can't extend on Hailuo for some reason. And again, that's something they need to improve on. I downloaded that, and I basically uploaded it over to Pixverse to kind of extend on it. And I said, okay, she's turned into a puddle of goop. Now let's have lipstick lips. Let's have their lipstick lips, now that they're kind of merged together as a puddle, emerge from the puddle. And they did. And I was like, oh, cool. So, you can add, basically you can extend and add certain things to a story, even though it may not be where the story goes. But that's kind of, that's kind of what basically makes these stories interesting. Now, here's the catch, though. When I was doing this on Hailuo, I think it was Hailuo or Pixverse, one of the two. I think it was both, even Kling. Here's the catch, though. When I was doing, let's say, the frame to frame, like one frame to the other frame on Kling, and then I think on Luma, what I had to do was I had to go to cleanup.pictures.com, and I had to edit out the upper region on the second image. I guess they think the girl's naked that way. I don't know. So I had to do that. And once I did it, it actually worked. Now, some of the sites didn't mind it. I think Pixverse didn't mind it, I believe. I'm not really sure. I got to go check. But some didn't mind it at all. I know Vidu didn't mind it. So it was workable in some areas. Not all. Not all. But again, getting back to the whole censorship situation, I do understand, how frustrating that could be because they're all different. They're all different in everything. And, you just got to work around what you have. You just got to work around with what you have. And I do apologize if I sound like I'm rambling, going off topic a little bit or off kilter. Like I said, I'm tired. I did work today. I'm in my final few days of my seasonal run at the job I was at last year. But anyway, Trouble wanted to, get some answers from people. And this was my answer to them, and I even uploaded my answer onto DeviantArt. But this is what I said in response a day ago, because they posted this about 3 to 4 days ago. This is what I said in response. This was my response yesterday, 24 hours ago, a little over 24 hours ago. This was my response, and I quote, Pixverse is good, but it lacks adding an end frame, but does have extension for a certain amount. And what I mean by that is when you download a video from another AI, or you just have a video there or whatever, but mostly if you download it from another AI and you upload it there, you can only get about maybe 3 or 4 extensions out of that, and then that's it. And then you're on your own. But if you don't do that and it's just something that you're creating on Pixverse, I think you got as much time as you want, I believe. But like I said, and I quote, this was my answer or my response to TroubleTRO yesterday. I said, and I quote, Pixverse is good, but it lacks adding an end frame, but does have extension for a certain amount. Hailuo is good too, just lacks extension and end frame. And Kling AI is good too, but the 1.5, which is the newest format they added, lacks the extension. Luma is still alright too. So if I was to rank on current work, Pixverse, Hailuo, and Kling are top ones, like I mentioned, to use. Luma is number 2, holding on to that thread. Vidu is gaining footing because, again, like I said, it's got extension and all that. So, well, not extension, but it's got end frame. It should get extension soon. But yeah, Vidu is gaining footing. Runaway is getting up there because it has end frames and it has extension, but it needs to really improve on that more so. So yeah, I told him basically that my ranking is Pixverse, Hailuo, and Kling at the top, the ones you should use. Luma is number 2. Vidu is getting, it's getting there. It's getting it's gaining its footing, and Runaway is getting up there as well. But from my personal experience, this is what I said, and I quote, but from my personal experience, the 3 I said at the top have been good. And yes, most of these will have a bit of censorship to the point that you have to edit/clean up the image. Hopefully, we'll get a Hailuo Kling Pixverse AI generator for NFSW/SFW in the future. Unless there is one out there now, anyone know of one? That's basically what my answer was. My answer was basically that Pixverse was good, but it was it was lacking end frame, but does have extensions for a certain amount, if not unlimited. Hailuo is good too, but lacks extension and end frame. Kling AI is good too, but the 1.5 lacks the extension. Luma is still all right too, but if I was to rank on current work, Pixverse, Hailuo, and Kling are top ones to use. Luma is number 2. Vidu is gaining footing. Runaway is getting up there. But from my own personal experience, Pixverse, Hailuo, and Kling like I said, although the top ones are at the top have been good. Now, at the top have been good. And then I also agree that yes, most of these will have a bit of censorship to the point that you have to edit, clean up the image. Hopefully, we'll get a Hailuo Kling Pixverse AI generator, basically one similar to them for NFSW, SFW content in the future. Unless there is one out there now, anyone know of one? And I think that's the one thing people have to, hope for, in the future. They have to hope for the fact that we will get, maybe a AI generator that's like Pixverse, that's like Kling, that's like Hailuo, but it's more for adult content. Like there's no censorship whatsoever. But we'll have to see. Now, if there is one out there, let anybody know. Let people know, hey, there is one out there. Go check it out. Here it is. Let them know. Because I guarantee you, if it's similar in presentation as Hailuo and the other ones are that I mentioned, the top three that I mentioned, then that's a blessing in disguise. But we'll have to see. We'll have to wait and see. But again, I do understand, where TroubleTRO is coming when they say that, a new one like Sora, has decent quality, but it's expensive and has a lack of understanding of prompts compared to Hailuo and Kling. I get that. I really do. I get that. I really do. But it's, as I've said before, AI is still developing. It's still evolving. It's still growing, not just for us consumers through sites, through subscription, free to monthly subscription websites like Kling, Luma, Hailuo, Runaway, Pixverse, and Vidu. It's not just growing and evolving through them, through sites like that, but it's also doing the same for outlets like for those in Hollywood and in the news outlet and all that. They're still growing and evolving. They're still learning, as we speak. So it's going to take time. It's going to take time. And maybe, again, maybe there is one out there that is uncensored, that, allows NFSW, SFW content to be created, via prompts or image. But we'll have to wait and see. But I just wanted to come on here and do this little bit of a response to TroubleTRO's, I guess you could say, discussion that they put on their Patreon. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are. Comment down below, like the video, ring the bell for notifications, subscribe to the channel, click on the link in the description to check out my Teespring store. It's at the bottom, the link that is to my Teespring store. Get yourself some merchandise, or a friend and family member some merchandise for Christmas that you can't get anywhere else. Also, check me out at deviantart.com at BVW1979 and click on the links to the outlets where you can find me elsewhere here on the internet. But guys, let me know what your thoughts are. Do you agree? Do you agree with what I've had to say in response to TroubleTRO? And TroubleTRO, if you're watching, let me know what your thoughts are. Again, I do apologize if I sound a little tired, if I went a little off kilter a little bit doing this. But give me your thoughts, guys. And until then, y'all have a good night.